Hello, guys. Welcome to first episode of Decoding Technician Show right here on India Today. So South, this is Maruti Acharya, and today we have a very special guest. I hope a lot of people have already watched the biggest movie of this year, that is Kalki 2898 AD. And for the people who still didn't watch it, what are you doing? It's in theaters. Please go watch it. And whatever is your opinions, reviews, all of that, all the discussion that is happening, please put that in the comments below. But now, right now, we have with us the production designer of Kalki 2898 AD, that is Mr. Nitin Zihani Choudhary. So let's start directly with him. Hello, sir. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I am doing great. Thank you so much. So my first question is Kalki 2898 AD is now the 1,000 crore movie, 6,000 crore movie from India, and it's achieving abroad also. So you've been an
Mhm.
integral part of this whole movie. So how are you enjoying the success?
I really appreciate that people are loving our product. I must say, like it's our creative thing, creative product, and like the numbers. I really don't value numbers. Like before that, it was 100 crore club. Now it's 1,000 crore club. Like the club will always change. Uh, and see the it's all about the whatever you do for you do your hard work and you want to present to the people and they appreciate, they love it, they like it. I think that's much is enough for us. Numbers, maybe producer will like it more. I mean, more like I'm personally in more peace than being excited about the numbers.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So
And
first
also
thing that
the
came to
numbers,
my
I think numbers,
hmm, hmm,
we always look for the numbers because we can make more of this kind of
more
cinema. Yeah.
correct.
And it's like when you want to create something new, something heavy in production,
Hmm,
uh, then then you need like kind of this kind of appreciation in terms of amount so that we can create more.
correct.
Yeah.
The first thing that when I was thinking of having this conversation with you, the first thought that came to my head is, wow, Kalki is a very unique film, especially from Indian cinema, because of the whole sci-fi genre. Even though we have done
Hmm.
a lot of mythological movies for sci-fi in India, it's the first time. And
Hmm.
globally also, it's a very unique film in the sense that mythology and sci-fi coming together. It's a very unique idea because this unique idea comes up with a lot of expectations slash preparing of audience and a lot of questions also. Why? Because we don't know how audience will receive it. So
Hmm.
how is that whole process of understanding audience in terms of coming up with creative ideas?
Yeah, it's like I guess to start with, it's a great idea to combine these two genres together. Like
Correct.
I think like our audience is not very much used to sci-fi. They haven't
Hmm,
seen like very successful sci-fi films till now. So bringing them together both, I think it's really exciting for the people also because we as in like culturally we were really grown up with this mytho characters. This
correct.
is our we spent thousands of years to develop this kind of a material. I would say it's our history. If you just go
Hmm,
back there, you also see few elements which seems sci-fi. Those
correct.
magical things you can think it's a magical space, it's going to a magical space, or maybe it's sci-fi also. So
Hmm,
yeah, even though when we were designing this Kurukshetra part, you know,
hmm,
and then me and Nagi, I remember we were discussing about how to design their weapons and can we have something, the flying elements around. As
okay.
I said, like we designed these, that's the bow and arrow which Karna and Arjuna,
Correct.
fight with.
Hmm,
The arrow doesn't have any, like the physical arrow.
hmm,
We used an that energy light beam kind of thing from
correct.
both of the side, and also that when they meet, that blast is also kind of a nuke blast or some kind of a very futuristic blast. Yeah.
Yeah, so when you're coming up with these new ideas which were never experimented before, So already there is one existing reference material for things that you want to go for it from scratch. That means it feels like a lot of things were made from scratch in the movie. So how
Yeah,
was that process of coming up with idea is one thing, and then building everything from scratch and you know giving it a life is another thing. So how was that process of choosing going everything from scratch?
I'll talk about the Mahabharata part. If you talk about Kashi or Shambhala or
Okay,
this complex, so everything
okay,
has a different language, but it should
correct,
have like somehow it should look very cohesive also,
correct.
So that was quite challenging for us, and I can't just like it's so broad that I can't start with something
Correct.
and
So, for example, if we take the vehicles used in the movie, starting from
Hmm.
Bucci to the tram, like, there's a train or bus which is flying in the air, kind of an automobile, also, right? So,
Yeah.
one, it is innovative, and second thing is building those kind of futuristic things from scratch. So, how
Hmm.
was the ideation of that whole thing? Like when you come up with an idea, is it doable, not doable? How was that? Like, only Bucci and the other vehicles in the movie. How was
Hmm.
the making
Hmm.
of that?
See, Buji was a very special vehicle for us from the beginning,
Hmm.
because like it's not just a vehicle for the movie. Like if you just when we I just heard the story and the Buji was like kind of the second most important character after Bhairava,
Correct.
from Kashi, and they
Hmm.
have a very nice combination as a friend or a very
Correct.
nagging buddy, or like it's almost sounds like a Bhairava's girlfriend if you just go about that part.
But
Hmm.
when I watched Buji, let's take Buji for example, it looks more like a dog. The design and structure of it, especially in this climax when it's standing, right? Yeah, the
Yeah.
human part of it also resembles a dog a little. And if you look at the mythological connection also, Bhairava dog, there is some symbolism already there. So was that a thought when you went into the designing of it, of the whole dog's resemblance to Buji?
Yeah, if you say it's dog, but we designed it as a gorilla in terms of
Okay,
formation. Yeah,
okay.
so not the dog for sure.
Part of
Yeah,
the
the
thought.
reference was to make him standing as in like when it's transforms, it transforms into a gorilla fighter.
Okay, gorilla fighter.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, maybe I
What do
got
you
it
like?
totally wrong because
If the dog would be the better, like it has any mythological connection to Karna and the
yes,
dog?
yes, it does. So Bhairava's vehicle is dog, like the
Really?
character Bhairava. Yeah, yeah, in mythology.
Yeah.
So when the Buji is especially there's a shot like a lot of trailer decoding videos also mention that when Buji is jumping, when it's standing, it looks like a gorilla, but when it's
Hmm.
jumping, the
Hmm.
angle in the angle which it was shown, it looks like a dog which is about to attack. So
Yeah.
obviously, when Bhairava is in crisis, the Vahana, which is Buji, so there are a lot of similarities. So that's why there are a lot of people who actually thought it is the vehicle of Bhairava, which is a dog.
It's a it's an interesting anecdote. Let's make it the truth. Now the Buji no is not a gorilla, it's dog because it's somehow connecting it's
Yeah.
sometimes I'll tell you. I also watch few reviews and breakdowns like by people,
Hmm.
and they sometimes they see a lot of details, like very hidden details, which even though
Correct.
we didn't put there as that to assume,
Correct.
but they assume something else and it's beautiful. I think I should add those details into this description. It makes the film more richer richer than like we we thought about. Yeah, that's really true. Like as you said that is it dog? Uh, I thought like it's a nice idea.
Okay.
Uh, and before that, see, I'll tell you before that when we were thinking about because that was always there in the script that at
Hmm.
the end.
Cool. So
Yeah.
similarly, when you look at like if we get into the next set pieces, so
Yeah.
first we'll start with Kashi. So, like my first thoughts of Kashi is in comparison to Complex, which is the other extreme. It was
Yeah.
very claustrophobic, very dim, and very, even though you don't understand, there's a lot happening.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's little bit of I might be wrong for drawing this parallel, but wo dharavi vibe. It's very
Yeah.
claustrophobic. There are a
Yeah.
lot of people around, so that's the vibe of Kashi. Did I get it right? And was that the intention? And how was the whole Kashi thing built?
See, truly, that was the intention for to build that stuff. Like the Kashi was. See, when we started this idea, I
Hmm.
remember when Nagi said like we are going to design this futuristic Kashi. I was so excited. You know, not
Okay.
about designing. I was excited about this thought that Kashi, because this is like it's our
Hmm.
so the oldest city exists till
Correct.
now. Okay, and this is going to stand till that day, whatever. Like we are designing this 2008 98 area.
2898. Yeah.
2898. I'm really sorry. So
So how was the process of designing this Kashi? So did you go to actual Kashi, pick up some references, and then try to give it a very futuristic touch, or you came up with a whole design which is different, or
designing something, it takes like it takes its own kind of like its own journey. uh,
okay.
so when we started, it's like what kind of material would
Hmm.
exist at that point, what kind of a machine would exist at that point, is like is this structure is going to decay, what would be like by like if you just keep like this abandoned city, if you just keep it like this, how this is going to react with the nature, like
Correct.
how much time it by itself, like these stone walls or maybe the brick walls, are these going to still stay, or
Hmm.
they need a like everyday repair, or like how it's going to hold by itself. So yeah, the structure by itself is strong enough. It's already standard for 1,000 year, and it's going to stay for much longer. Does that sand is going to completely bury the city, or
Correct.
it's half buried or something like this? So we
Hmm.
we went through a different, different thoughts of how to just like look at it different perspective. It's about the material, about the natural climate, how it's going to behave with the with the space, and what complex did to the Kashi. It's that's
Hmm.
also important, and what
Hmm.
the people around the Kashi, how they really treated the Kashi. you know
Hmm.
so those things keeping in the mind, uh, like gradually we reached to some space, and like one more thing, when we started the design, we were mostly spreading this slum around the
Okay.
Kashi, around the complex. And then I remember that I was just researching about my team, and
Hmm.
we were researching about the different slums, the most
Hmm.
complex slum in the world, be it Brazil, be it India, Dharavi, or any other slum. So I remember there is a slum called Kongwon in China, something like that.
Okay.
So it was the most, most densely populated space in the world.
Okay.
Now, I think that it's not there right now. Like till 2009 or something, it was there. So,
Okay.
what they did, it was like it was built vertically.
Oh.
Yeah. So because and it's completely lawless, like it's out of hand of the government, and like and also like when the resources are very less, so
Hmm.
people come more closer, you know
Correct.
and close to the source of whatever energy and resources. People come
Correct.
closer. When they come closer, they can't spread out. So they build, internally vertical.
Hmm.
So that was the idea to build this Kashi slum into a vertical.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was the reference was
Reference.
from that
China slum.
China. I can't remember the name now. It's Kongwon or something.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So now that you've mentioned that you've taken reference of a slum for Kashi, and
Yeah,
in contrast, if you look at Complex, which is a very vast, everything is open, even laboratory is like this one big open area. Like starting from like if we break Complex into three pieces, one is the pyramid, the outer
yeah,
structure of it, and the second
yeah,
one is the entire inside space where it can be the nature landscape or the laboratory, and the third piece is the Yaskin's den, which is connected.
yeah, yeah.
So we'll go one by one. What was the idea? Like, what is the idea of that pyramid and the way it is crashing onto the earth in reverse? What is the symbolism? Is there any symbolism? How was that ideated?
Mm. For this again, like when we like it's always very organically. Everything is very organically designed. You don't
Okay.
like go with some one idea and just like that idea fits to the visuals or maybe the story. Because when you design, in a like in multiple dimension spaces, when you go to
Correct.
the gachi and complex, and they doesn't fit together.
Hmm.
It doesn't fit together means like uh, it doesn't give you like, same time and space rendering at all. Yeah.
Yeah, like in our previous conversation, you
Right.
mentioned that the whole pyramid is crashing. Like the idea is that it's sucking all the resources, so it's like on the chest of the earth, a
Yeah, yeah,
structure
yeah,
which is
yeah, yeah.
taken. So
Yeah,
was
that
that
see
the
that.
idea?
Yeah, that was the idea. So I'll come to that again, about the
Yeah,
complex. So the in story, the story about the complex building was like a complex because the powerful complex
yeah.
have all the resources. Okay,
Hmm.
that the and by the complex, this, that they really sucked out all the energies and resources, including the Ganga water, and took it to up there for
Hmm.
themselves. So that was the brief to start that
Okay.
that design. Yeah. So we come up with this pyramid shape. I don't remember that particularly who came up with this shape, but when we saw it, okay,
Hmm.
we all were agreed to this. We thought, okay, this is our shape. Somehow it's, that particular shape, because it's broader from the top and it's narrow from the bottom. It's it looks like something is literally plunged on the chest of Kashi. By to
Correct.
seeing that shape there, it's by itself painful.
Hmm.
And it looks so dominating by this. When you see up, it's humongous. It has gold and black, texture and rendering. So that image is very uh, kind of give you creep, and
Hmm.
also somehow it's inspirational. If you just
Okay.
see that was the
Hmm.
emotion, was that emotion we got from the image. That's why, like, we were like completely agreed on, oh, this is the one. We had tried, I think, more than 30, 40 kind of shapes and designs, and sometime I liked it, sometime Nagi liked it, sometime some other person, but there was no other single, design
Hmm.
which we all were agreed on.
Okay.
Yeah. So sometimes, like, this is also the process, when until and unless everyone says this is the one, we are not done. That
Yeah.
was that that was our mantra from the beginning. even though if I see something, like somebody is saying yes, but he is not completely convinced about the idea,
Hmm.
I I'll say let's develop on this. And our like very it's our common kind of a dialogue.
Hmm.
Whenever we think that it's done, we say it's almost done. We are almost there. Let's do one more round. That we are almost there, but not there when we would be there.
Okay, so when you are mentioning about producer and going up with so many versions, right? So
Yeah,
producers Priyanka Dutt and Ashwini, they
yeah.
how were they on set? Were they like, this is the deadline, we have to get it, or go for it. We have to
Yeah.
develop. Everybody should like it. That's the whole idea. How was the vibe on set with the producers?
With the producer, I see. So I'll start with also. I think this on the titles. Their name was as in bosses, boss Priyanka and Swapna. It was not as in producer Swapna and Priyanka. So that's completely true. See, these
Hmm.
two women are like kind of a power generator of the set. The whole
Okay.
not only set, like the whole production. uh,
Hmm.
they're they're thoroughly involved into the process. They are not
Okay.
kind of producer who comes on set and just look around and shake hand with the main actors and go back. They were
Hmm.
always there, and personally involved, hands-on involved into art and costume and other departments.
Okay.
And that I feel like I haven't seen anywhere this kind of a, the environment,
Okay. So is
especially
there any
especially like this scale of film.
Is there any incident that you can recall, like, where they were on the sets or doing something when you're working on building something, or them doing, like,
Yeah, yeah.
actually contributing? Any
It,
incident that, you,
it's not one incident, so I can't
okay,
like I can't even point out one, but there is
okay,
thousand and thousand. Like when we like like big to begin with, like first few days when I was on set, and I remember that we were designing, like we were making something. Our team, our department were making something, and I think
okay,
it was some kind of a robot or some piece for the market. And then because it's a like made out of junk material, so
correct.
yeah. So then I saw Priyanka is roaming around into the junkyard and bringing
Hmm.
few pieces, like holding few pieces and running towards us. And see,
From the
Nitin,
junkyard.
does it work? Does it fit here? Does it fit there? So I just looked at her and I thought, Priyanka, you're the producer. Like you don't need to do this kind of thing. But she like I think she personally enjoy also. It's not just like she
Okay.
want to contribute or wanted to see more involved. She really enjoys being there with the art. And
That's really great to have producers like that on set.
yeah. And they see. I'll tell you. See, the Priyanka and Swapna especially. So
Hmm.
they have a very good cop and bad cop vibes. Good cop and
Okay.
bad cop. So like Priyanka, like she's sweet. She's there. She's with you, and Swapna is also like this. But whenever something happens, Swapna is the one who stands and screams.
Hmm.
Okay, so like and sometimes you have to do this, not
Hmm.
scream on like someone, like screaming for the job to done, like it's for
Yeah.
everyone. I
Yeah.
remember that we were shooting this the first Kurukshetra set, and that
Huh.
costume it like it's hundreds of people, and like a very complicated costume, like like layers and layers and layers.
Hmm.
When we design it, it's on paper, it looks good, and we say, yeah, this is we need to do, we have to do this, we'll do this. And then when we go on the set, now we really crib for this, like why we we did this to ourselves. Like, why we choose like 100 different pieces to make one costume? Why just we can't like, yeah, make a simpler one?
Yeah.
So we just
Yeah.
wrap around and fix it quickly. So like, yeah, so that we were that we me and Archana and all the team, all the creative team were uh, working on like working together for this set, Kurukshetra set, and it's getting late, and like we were like completely like we are running out of time. And then Swapna came, and she stands on a platform or something, a podium or something, and she starts screaming around. And like when she screams, I everything was like on time. Tuck, 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 tuck. We built it everything with. So I think this force also we need on sometime. They are like most uh, very approachable and beautiful people to work with. Even though Nagi, there is no
Yeah.
hierarchy with our system. And start with
Okay.
Nagi. Like I think the people will very surprised to hear me out saying this. We didn't have any first AD in our film. Like first AD or chief AD or something like this. Uh,
Okay.
I asked Nagi also like why we don't have any chief AD or something. Like he said I don't want any this system of hierarchy that chief first second or whatever. This tells about something uh, about the Nagi also. The
Hmm.
Nagi, how he really lead the show, Zen mode, without big ADs and like very big technician, and like the set is burning. Set is burning because something is like it's not something is delayed, something is not happening, and this guy is like silently smiling, talking to you, and also cracking the jokes. I think
Oh.
he, he can crack jokes at like any kind of a difficulty situation. Like his like I just go to Nagi, and I also try to to joke something like, but he's always ready prior me that with something else. He's not insecure about his material or maybe his idea,
Hmm.
or he can find out a solution without like going crazy. I think
Hmm.
I was the one who was the mad angry person on set sometime, not every time,
Okay.
sometime. After
Hmm.
Swapna, I was the second one. But like in the process, I learned a lot from Nagi. I become much calmer.
So how do you like now that you mentioned, one day he sits with the idea, he makes you believe that yes, this is the one we are going to execute, and next day he's like, I think we have to change the idea. That feeling when you listen to that, how do you feel? I'm like, oh my god, again. Is that how you
No,
used to feel? How is that?
I don't feel like again because I myself do the same. We
Okay.
like my team knows that like we like as I said, like we are almost there. Let's start something fresh. It's very difficult to find someone who has a similar, you know, wavelength
Hmm.
and similar taste of uh, designing and thoughts. Para vehicle was like it's like a nice smart design. Like
Okay.
we were I was not doubt with that kind of a design. No, that see Kiara vehicle designs is like a
Hmm.
sleek smart vehicle. Like
Correct.
that very techno science kind of a design.
Correct.
I'm talking about the Raiders vehicle, the complex Raider vehicle, which looks like a, that's
Bus.
the rock formation black.
Yeah.
That it has textures and
Correct, 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 correct.
yeah, yeah. It's a very organic. We had the science. We had a very good researcher team. Manoj, Arya, and Abhishek, like few people were there from the beginning, and whenever we were designing something, look, like the complex we made for the complex science, we made a story for the complex science. It will not
Okay.
fit like you can't prove it on paper. Like it's not like very scientific document, but it makes sense. Yeah, so that's how we come up with the organic design of the complex and their texture, and
Okay.
then we come up with this design of radar vehicle, radar arc, and a few more few like this Yaskin's boat, you know
Correct.
that Yas not Yaskin boat, it was Manas boat. Sorry,
The correct,
the the
correct.
Ma-
Manas boat,
the
the one which
Manas,
he, yeah.
the his ship.
Yeah, so now that we're talking about the Yaskin Den also, like you mentioned Manas and then Yaskin also, that's the
Yeah,
next thing in Complex. My favorite two set pieces from the movie are the one where a tall guy is taking them to the Yaskin Den. It
yeah,
was wonderfully designed and executed. It's one of the best frames of all time for me. And second thing is the way Yaskin Den or that set piece looks, because the
hmm.
colors, the balls around him, the way he's floating, the the liquid below, and the I don't know what to call them, but the remains of, or the antiques that were kept here,
Yeah,
human remains for the
yeah.
purpose. So the whole set design. So how was that thought? What is the whole idea and essence of that den, and how did you come up with those ideas for that for both?
To start with, I must say that um, one of my friend Pankaj, who was the cinematographer of Tumbad, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember that Pankaj said one day that if any scene or shot, if somebody say like it's beautiful or it was amazing, that means that time you didn't justify to the story. You know,
Okay.
like your maybe your image or visual or maybe designing of the shot was not
Hmm.
for the film. It was for your show reel or something. So so be aware of like designing something which is overpowering the scene or the story. So that
That's
is
a
the
very
that
interesting way to look at it.
yeah. So but I like that somebody says that set was beautiful. It's a very beautiful insight. That's why I shared that.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
Come back to this Yaskins. Yeah, I think that was the only set which we cracked very quickly. You know,
Okay.
I think this sometime the design comes into like really appears in front of you very quickly, and
Hmm.
you are pretty sure about this that this is going to work. This is
Hmm.
definitely going to work. That happens. You don't need to every time fight for perfection. Sometimes it
Hmm.
comes like quickly.
Correct.
This set was like from the beginning. The shape was finalized. It is going to be spherical. It's not spherical. It's like spherical, but little uh,
Okay.
pressed from the top or
Compressed.
something. I think the idea of the set, like the brief of the set, was like this Yaskin uh, is somewhere in the center. Maybe we can
Hmm.
see uh, a liquid underneath that. The
Hmm.
fire needs to be there, and I think the five elements need to be need to be there,
Okay.
and like he's evolving a kind of like he's doing some experiment, and
Hmm.
those kind of brief were there. So when I heard the brief, I think that image like at the same time I was, somehow making this kind of
Hmm.
a image and design in my mind. So
So, what was the brief of Supreme Yaskin to you? Like the character of it, and how did that help in building this world? Who's
yeah,
Supreme Yaskin, according to you?
yeah. So see, uh, Supreme Yaskin, he's the one who is leading the world right now.
Okay.
He's the king of the world. So
Hmm.
one the complex one is in Kashi, and there is seven complex. One is in Kashi, one would be somewhere else, one would be in and on the land of Africa, one would be somewhere in America. So like there are seven complexes, and
Okay.
all complexes led by Yaskin. When we were designing this, and then the different world were not cohesive, like they were not
Hmm.
looking the same part, and as a team we went back to the drawing board, and like we thought about it, and then we made one story. So let's say now the world is completely reversed. Now
Hmm.
your gods, your demigods are underground. You know that
Hmm.
Ashwathama is in the cave,
Underground. Hmm.
and your devil is on the top.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
who is above the complex, because
Correct.
his shrine is
Hmm.
way above the complex. Okay, nobody can
Hmm.
even reach there. So that's why that huge sculptures can lift you there. So
Hmm.
uh, so the whole reverse thing happened. The dark part of of the enlightened space.
Hmm.
So yeah, uh, so that was the thought behind to design the
Hmm.
Yaskin's appearance. uh, um, it is old, it's fragile, it's somehow it's rotten inside this character. When you
Hmm.
like it's powerful, but when you see those cracks on the head and the back. But yeah, so this is the
This is
the
the.
framework which we tried to design the Yaskin, so that if you just line up this world, and then now if you design anything, okay, if
Hmm.
you design, let's say, Yaskin or Ashwathama cave,
Hmm.
or a part of any vehicle uh, from the Kashi or maybe the complex,
Hmm.
you just scratch few things, then by itself, because you just follow the story. Now by
Yeah.
itself, the one thing can literally lead to another thing.
Another thing.
Yeah. So like it's now it's become a chain.
Hmm.
You just
I
you
get
just
it.
need to scratch it out correctly. You will find your thematical design language. And
Hmm.
that was the thing which I was underestimating before I started. I
Okay.
thought like it. I know complex. I like somehow will design something good with the complex, something good with that, something good with that, and it's going to like it's going to be there. Like it will appear like this,
Yeah.
but no, it takes its on time.
Hmm.
And his shrine which we designed. So if you notice
Yeah.
that when these people goes up to the Yaskin
Hmm.
room, so it's kind of a lab, so when they go to this, like on the stairs, if you
Hmm.
notice that there is a wall which has the evolution fossils from monkey
Hmm.
to
Hmm. Hmm.
human.
Correct.
And then when you go inside, there is like in the fetus shape, the
Correct.
like giant human on those circles.
Correct.
So that Yaskin by himself, because he doesn't like the human which is there. He
Hmm.
feels them inferior, not the best
Hmm.
quality of people. So he's
Correct.
he's somehow leading the evolution by itself,
Hmm.
and making a better human being.
Okay.
And as he is sitting in the center, the master of the new evolution.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why he's there in front of that, that circular window and is
Correct.
looking into the space.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that was
Right.
the idea of the designing from the staircase till his room.
Now let's get to the most talked about piece from the movie, and which a lot of people loved, which is the Mahabharata episode. So my first
Yeah.
question about that is, A, we have enough content already, which is being made from generations in different languages of Mahabharata.
Yeah.
And information that people have about Mahabharata and the whole segment is one, the existing
Hmm.
reference. You have to try to, the whole idea is to still make it believable, beating all the expectations or imaginations of people have. So, how was that? And how did that whole translate to big screen? What was the thought?
Like it's good that you you said that the most talked about piece of the film. I thought you were gonna say the guns. Yeah, but
Yeah, we'll get to that also,
because
which is also part of.
I tell you, see, a lot of people didn't like our guns, especially the
Hmm,
Shambhala part, and yeah,
correct.
we'll talk about that later. But so yeah, this Mahabharata part,
Hmm,
we were very excited about that piece,
hmm,
that scene basically, because
yeah.
it's a very integral part of the story.
Hmm,
And uh, and that the challenge, how you really want to capture the post-war landscape,
correct.
and having that the figure of Krishna there,
Hmm,
and Ashwathama on that war field
hmm,
was quite challenging in two parts. One would be,
hmm,
let's say, it's about how you really want to see that that massacred space, the biggest
correct.
war in the world, and
Yeah.
it's in India. So
Hmm,
about we worked thoroughly on the armors, weapons, and like we collected all the references, which we can get from the our old sculptures,
hmm,
uh, or maybe some written material. Through that we
hmm,
can create our own image. If you just read through few information about the weapons, armors, or other or maybe the war field,
correct.
how is like somebody says that after the war the land was completely red.
Hmm,
It's the blood was
soaked
too
in
much,
blood.
that it's that it's a sludge of mud. it's
Correct.
there was no dry patch of land there. When you see the first step, the Krishna puts on that, that's near to the small plant or some
Correct. Correct. Correct.
yeah. So you see that I really love this shot when the Krishna steps up and
Hmm,
you see the splash of
correct.
blood, the drop of blood, that
Hmm,
you see that sludge, and that by itself, that that step can tell you a lot about the war.
correct.
And like to design this uh, the space, we if you the Indian landscape and other landscape, like in if you see in other Hollywood or foreign film, it has a difference into the tonality of it. It has a
Okay.
difference in terms of that, you know uh, this mist. If you see this the other side, like the Hollywood space, that it's more uh, in in terms of a blue side, a little
Hmm,
foggy or something like this, and our space, that is more into the yellow, uh, uh, color palette.
hmm,
And and Yeah, so come to this, that color palette which we thought about, definitely
Mm-hmm.
the the soil color and also color of the fabric. The
Okay.
reference for that was our calendar art. If you see
Okay.
any poster, old, you know, eight- 1980s, before 1980s, if you see any poster or those artwork of
Correct.
our mytho, so they use a very precise, kind of a color tone, uh,
Hmm.
because of its on kind of printing and its own kind of a technique to design it.
Correct.
So somehow we wanted to recreate that poster feel to it,
Hmm.
1980s poster feel to it, and like being like ourselves into a limitation that which color exists at that point. We don't
Hmm.
need to go beyond that. We have to be
Hmm.
limited ourselves to uh, keeping your color palette little in control.
Hmm.
And one more thought we gave into it at the end, I say, would be like, when we open the shot, like wide frame, there should not be any other living thing in that
Hmm.
scene except our Krishna, God Krishna, and Ashwathama.
Hmm.
So, like purposely, we didn't add any vulture also.
Okay.
Like so you get this a dead space feeling, and only
Correct.
these two figure can move there. So
Hmm.
it's hit you hard.
Now moving away, moving a little this side from the Mahabharata segment and our previous conversation about the weapons. So the like some people liked it, some people didn't like it, but there was a lot of talking about the weapons. There were a lot of parallels from Hollywood movies. So
Uh-huh.
what do you think of all of this about the weapons? How did you make it? And how, firstly, what did you think of the reception that received the weapon design received? What are your
Yeah.
thoughts?
So weapons, like for everything else, not even the weapons, we tried our best that it would, our film should look like, unique, and also
Hmm.
very pretty much Indian. Like from the start, we started with this, that this idea that this should not look like any other Hollywood film. This
Hmm.
should look like an Indian sci-fi, a
Correct.
material. Definitely, being our mytho elements really helped
Hmm.
us to somehow reach to that particular space. But
Hmm.
for any other design, including guns, vehicles, or maybe set and any other prop, we thought like we won't start with referencing the from the Pinterest or some other site.
Hmm.
We start from our research, kind of like Indian elements or Indian written thing, or maybe whatever pictures, or Indian architecture, or maybe we can go through some tribal architecture of Africa or something. Like go with our own research, not just first gather the references from any other site and design on that. So,
Correct.
and somehow if we can stay to the reality of our own truth, that okay, we
Hmm.
design it by our own, and we kept in mind that it's Indian. Like you
Hmm.
can't just point. And it's also very hard to say something purely Indian, because India is a very, it has a vast uh,
Correct.
history, and also a vast kind of a design language we went through
Hmm.
throughout the generation. And it's not like thousand, it's thousands and thousands of year of development of, like we went through something and went back to something else, and then we designed something else. You start with from Harappa to that Ajanta Ellora, then you come to the Mughal period,
Correct.
or something like this. So we just avoided the Mughal part of it intentionally,
Hmm.
because when we add the Mughal kind of architecture to our design, that becomes a little, uh, that it shifts away from the base language of the Hindu architecture, because we were
Hmm.
specifically we were talking about Mahabharata and future. So we thought, like, let's refine this idea, and
Hmm.
give it space of uh, this mytho and the sci-fi
Correct.
together, and dropping few chunks of our history.
Because
Yeah.
that was also one of the biggest talking points of the movie that, why is it so, how do I put it, very Hindu world, it feels like was another talking point. So this clears a lot of answers.
Yeah, they see, this is not about any religion. Okay, this
Correct.
the film, the story is saying something, and we need to follow those, the hints which is coming from our, the area of play.
Hmm. Hmm.
uh,
Hmm.
so because we if we would have uh, uh, put something from our middle period, or maybe after, like, post uh, post Mughal influence.
Hmm.
If we had something from that part, definitely we gathered everything from our history. This is our history. I'm not saying that, oh, this is not our part. So
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, that's not to really, offend someone purposely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
It's just
it's,
to create a mythological environment
yeah,
that
that was the
movies are.
rendering.
Yeah.
There is only two world which
Hmm.
we try to show, and you don't need to
Correct.
say everything. You have to be content with something. That's how you create a design language.
Correct.
If he would have mixed everything together, it would have become a khichdi which nobody can understood.
Yeah. So the Indianized version of the weapons is what was what you were thinking with the whole design of the weapons.
For the weapon, for the sets, for any other vehicle. Uh, so come to the weapon, we thought, let's design from the scratch. It's kind of a really, it's so challenging, because
Hmm.
it's kind of a very utility kind of design. Any weapon should
Correct.
need a grip, need a barrel, and a trigger to
Hmm.
shoot. That's a very obvious design. And if you really want to break this, uh, it's very challenging. It's kind of a you kind of reinventing the wheel.
Correct.
By itself, there is nothing extra on the weapon, like,
Hmm.
it's yeah. So we thought, let's how we can reshape it,
Okay.
redesign it. So we started with a knuckle duster of design. Like, maybe you don't need a barrel. Let's leave the barrel first, and just make the grip by itself is a gun. So I
Hmm.
remember our first design was kind of a C shape, which has
Hmm.
four triggers, which can, you can play differently to uh, to shoot with a different uh, power, strength, or a
Hmm.
charge. So that was the idea. And then from that design, it's kind of a pistol. That was the pistol, and then we designed the bigger gun, and
Hmm.
then we also designed from that design, like, it opens and becomes a sphere.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's an evolution of one single design was a grip, and then a bigger gun with the two barrel, and
Hmm.
the third one is sphere, which you can fight and also you can shoot with that.
Okay.
And the other design, the Shambhala world. So
Hmm.
the Shambhala world, because this world is like, it's by uh, who really trust this, like who believe these prophecy,
Hmm.
specifically this prophecy, and they are united from all over the world. So it has all the ethnicity into it,
Hmm.
and also they came up with their own culture and their own, the architectural influence, and they must have come together and built this city. That was the idea.
Hmm.
So I think this in film we didn't notice the, because it's the Shambhala background. You
Hmm.
didn't notice because most of the time you also uh, with the characters, but in
Correct.
background you see, you don't see only one kind of architecture. You see different kind of architectural designs around there.
Hmm.
So like it has like, you can see some African, Egyptian, or maybe some British, Roman,
Hmm.
or maybe our Indian architecture. So it's like
A
it's a
mix.
mix of all the culture and their design influence. And specifically, I'll talk about this, the the tree,
The tree. Huh.
the tree. Okay,
Hmm.
so now the tree is the center part of, it's a shrine for these people who come there and do their puja. So
Hmm.
we started with the design of some kind of a temple which unify all the ethnicity together. We come up with some shape, and then we thought like it's like this design telling something more, like it has more elements from this culture, so it's looks like belongs to someone. It's
Hmm.
not, it's not like a unified design of all the cultures. So like we had a lot of stages to design that,
Hmm.
part by part. We were removing something. Okay,
Yeah.
this is like really influenced by that, let's remove that. And like after such a point, then we had to remove everything and just kept this tree in the center.
Okay.
That, like I think nature is the center point of all the religion. So
Yeah.
by like just to pray a tree, you know
Hmm.
it's everything.
Correct.
Yeah, so that, I think that's how we came up with this,
Tree.
designing the shrine
Hmm.
just as in tree.
It's very interesting. So now that you're
and
mentioning
it
the
has
details of it,
and it
huh,
has
huh.
also, and one more anecdote, I'll just talk about this.
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
so from the first thing, when we see Krishna had this, just take out the gem from Ashwa's
Correct.
forehead, and then we connect the story there later when Raya has this gem.
Correct.
The little girl has this
Yeah,
gem.
yeah.
If you track back this gem journey, you
Correct.
will reach to the Shambhala. So
Correct. The Rajendra Prasad character in the starting who gets the gem into the complex and that
yeah,
area.
and
Correct.
then Mariam also asked about that and this.
Yeah.
So this is from Shambhala. So the birth of the tree, the story behind that, which we know,
Hmm.
like which we discussed, that Krishna threw that gem there, and
Hmm.
that's how it gave the birth to the tree. Okay,
Hmm.
and around the tree, everyone came together and start praying that. So
Okay.
the gem is kind of a seed to the tree.
Oh,
Yeah, and
that's a
also like,
very interesting detail.
that gem is so powerful,
Hmm.
that because of that, so it creates a huge crater on in this mountain, and that crater
Hmm.
by itself is so huge that becomes a landscape for that city.
So that's what. So the details that you've been mentioning, a little technical question.
Hmm.
So which I'm curious about is, see, one is coming up with the idea of how this looks visually,
Hmm.
and when you get to the production of it, half of it is how, like the probability is something that you tell me. You have to build something manually, and something is, you build based on CG, like
Yeah.
using visual effects. So half
Yeah.
is digitally and composed, and half is like manually made. So with
Right.
project with Kalki 2898 AD, how was that? How much of it is like actually made, and how much of it is CG made? And what about the process of making two different things and blending them into one?
But see, VFX is also part of production design by
Okay.
itself. You know,
Okay.
so the basic fundamental rule here is, I'll tell you,
Hmm.
everyone really wants to have a practical sets and practical effects. You know, because
Hmm.
it seems real, and
Correct.
it's also save a lot of time and going into VFX and other stuff.
Hmm.
So fundamental rule is like we want to have something which is there on the set, and we are all happy to shoot there. And it also
Yes.
helps to, it also helps to, like, for good for the director and for the characters who's there performing, because they have
Correct.
something around to, relate with, or to
Yeah.
interact with. So
Yeah.
like, but we have a limitation. We have a limitation of, always limitation, budget and time and other stuff. So till the point we build, and like, let's say 20 feet or 30 feet we build, and then beyond that, because we hardly
Hmm.
see there, we hardly go there, we have to, go with the VFX.
Hmm.
And sorry.
The percentage of it, was it 50-50 CG and like practical shots, or what is it?
See, see most of the shot we did uh, on set.
Okay.
Most of the shot which you see, because they were interactive, but
Hmm.
we can build till an extent. We can't go beyond our limit. For example, we
Correct.
don't have a floor of 2,000 square feet. We have a
Hmm.
200 square feet of space, and
Hmm.
so till that space we have, we design everything, because we our
Yeah.
character also going to interact
Hmm.
there. But beyond that, uh, those things we have to go with the VFX. And also,
Okay.
like if there is a sculpture of 200 feet high, we have to
Hmm.
go with, with the VFX. For example, the
Correct.
complex Kashi we can build, but we can't build the complex because it's immense, like kind of a,
Correct.
it's humongous. So we
Hmm.
build the steps and
Hmm.
part of that, and the gate, the entrance,
Hmm.
and rest was in post. And for
In
example,
post production.
like vehicles also, that we build the boat, the Manas boat, but
Hmm.
we like we there is a limitation of building, and sometime, that practically, if you have some kind of a movement, that
Hmm.
robotic or some kind of a, some very complicative things happening in machinery and those stuff. So those
Hmm.
limitation also we like throw us towards the post most of the time.
Correct.
And also it's a calculation between the set and the VFX. For example,
Hmm.
let's say if we need to build uh, 220 feet something, and we'll just need to calculate, okay, how much it costs us to build practically, and how much it costs for the VFX.
VFX.
And if the
Hmm.
yeah, VFX, then if we do the comparison, and something works for us, we'll go with that.
I want to know about your interaction with the star cast, the actors, Amitabh Bachchan sir, Kamal Haasan sir, Prabhas, Deepika Padukone. How was it? How was it working with them on sets?
It was good. Everyone is, very much friendly to to the technician,
Hmm.
professional. I don't know how to describe. They were all were professional, on time, work, like they were also working hard. We were working hard. We were
Hmm.
there like as a team. You, especially with Prabhas, or not even like with everyone. you don't feel that okay, star is coming on the set. He
Hmm.
comes and he sits anywhere. He can eat from your plate also. He can like he like he's there. He talks friendly.
Yeah.
Amitabh sir on time. Like Amitabh sir, like he has like this. I don't know. He loves sets too much that he doesn't go out of set. Even though he's not shooting there, Prabhas or maybe other. Even though other character is shooting, he's there just sitting on chair, watching the show and like
Hmm.
watching the shoot. And if we say like, sir, if you want to take rest, we'll call you later. He say, no, no, I'm fine. I'm enjoying here. So yeah, and his
That's
projection,
great.
like he's sitting there, like waiting for maybe an hour or so, and when he stands, it doesn't seems like he has a iota of tiredness. He's
Hmm.
always fresh and projecting big on screen.
Hmm.
I always love to watch uh, his performance through the camera.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That people call you change machine. That's a very
Yeah,
interesting name. So why is that? I want to know the roots of this name and what are your comments about it.
I'm not aware of this, but I think so. Why they might call me this? So see, as everybody has their own kind of work way of working.
Correct.
So when we always go with some kind of a prepare, like very much prepared on set. We
Hmm.
design it. We go with the measurements. Then we make a 3D, 3D
Hmm.
set, 3D set design,
Hmm.
and then we go on floor. Then we build it. We
Hmm.
build it, and then we build it more, and then we go with the details, and then we go with a deep details, and then
Hmm.
we think that something is not working. I think there the change comes. Something is
Okay.
not working at that time. um, uh, you feel that it needs uh, to be reconstructed. Okay. Not
Okay.
the whole set, not the whole set.
Huh.
That kind of a luxury we can't afford, but for sure part of it. Okay, part of it
Huh.
you feel that okay, I think this pillar is not working. It's coming. It's like it doesn't have detail, or maybe it's bulky. It's not working for the story or something.
Hmm.
When you go on the set, you're the first one. You like as in camera, you see the set
Yeah.
every first time you are into the set. If something is jarring, something is not real, something doesn't serve the story, something need to redefine. Okay, you have to do something about that, and you need to
Hmm.
change it. And like
Hmm.
I asked Priyanka that when I did a first change, I think it was our Ashwa temple, the Shiva
Yeah. Yeah.
temple.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Hmm.
the set was lovely. It was like I also liked it a lot. It was our first set.
Okay.
So that entrance, when you go, so there is an entrance which you go through that passage and you enter the circular space.
Correct.
There in the center you have this Shivlinga.
Shivlinga.
Yeah. So that entrance, when it was looking wonderful in 3D. Okay, it has its own detail and everything. But when we went through it, like when I passed through that, I thought that it's not, that feeling is not coming. That you are coming through a cave,
Hmm.
because it's still a big enough space. So you enter from there, you already see the temple, you know.
Hmm.
But when Raya comes through the staircase and this passage, the that first view she would get would be, she doesn't know where she's going, but all of a
Hmm.
sudden it opens, opens
Hmm.
to this area. So that's why I thought, let's, can we make it smaller? We don't need to break
Hmm.
everything, but we need to just bring out these walls together, and yeah, few changes. So
Okay.
there, then Priyanka was like, um, "Do we really need to change that?"
Hmm.
I said, "I think so, and we have to because of these reasons." And I really appreciate Priyanka here, and this is not the one incident. This was the first incident. I think we went through these kind of alteration throughout multiple
Hmm.
sets, a little bit here and there.
Okay.
But Priyanka was like always, uh, always very much supportive uh, about like to like she understand this, and she understand the needs. Also, she also want to do something which is, she really want to push the boundaries by itself,
Hmm.
and somehow, she was compromising with this idea of change.
Hmm.
And I think she's now she's used to it. And now, yeah, that might be the case.
What is now that Kalki is made, like people are appreciating and you're also happy, and there is a lot of set and property ideas that's already made. So, what is the exciting thing for Kalki to for you? What are you excited about for the second project? Building what? What next? What is happening?
For the second part, like we just took a break after 4 years. This is the only 20 days. Yeah.
Wonderful.
We'll go bigger and bigger and bigger.
So, all the best for the upcoming films also, and congratulations once again for Kalki 2898 AD and success. It was really, really lovely talking to you and decoding the details with you. Thank you so much for joining us today. And
Thank you.
that's it. So, audience, if you like this conversation, please hit like, share, and definitely subscribe to the channel. And again, like I previously mentioned, if you didn't watch the movie, what you're doing, go watch it in theaters. It's definitely worth the theaters. Now that you know that so much efforts went into it, your love and support is definitely required. That's it. This is Maruti Acharya, and you are watching India Today So South.